Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to see. Now we've been chit-chatting a little bit, but I'd like, there's a few new people, so I'd like to introduce them or let Johnny, why don't you and Adrian introduce yourselves, and then we'll just briefly go around. If you could say something about yourself and just introduce and what your interests are, that would be great. Go ahead, Johnny.
Hello, my name is John Henniges. I'm in Oceanside, California. I've been friends with George for many, many years. I'm excited to sit in and listen to today's lesson. And I'm retired, but went back to work, working for a biotech company here in La Jolla, and taking care of my 2 dogs and my wife. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Johnny. And Adrian, if you would like to introduce yourself and just say a few things.
Well, I know George from Johnny because I've known Johnny my whole life. I'm in Los Angeles right now. I'm just being a grandmother, I guess. That's it.
That's great. Well, welcome. And you heard a little bit about everybody. And so maybe we'll just have you just introduce your names and maybe a very short thing about yourself. We all know each other a little bit, so that'd be great, just so they feel welcome. And I want you guys to feel welcome. So Avril, maybe you can start.
I'm Avril, I'm in Phoenix. I've known George now 4 months, and we're having fun together and on this journey of working in coaching and mindfulness and meditation. So I'm looking forward to this evening. Thanks, George.
Thanks, Avril. Lena, if you would like to go next, we'll just go through my screen.
Yes, so I'm Lena. I am from the San Francisco Bay Area. I study coaching with Avril. So I am starting to develop my coaching practice. I'm very happy here with meditation. I am a true believer of meditation. So it's like, you don't have to sell me anything. So I am on that. So happy to share this with you guys.
Nice to see you, Lena. And Tina?
I am Tina, or Christina Gerges, and I know George through Avril. And I also know Louise So because Louise and I work together at Glendale Community College in Arizona. I'm really happy to be here.
Nice to see you, Tina. Where do we go? Well, Louise, if you want to go next.
Hi, I'm Louise, and originally from Dublin, Ireland, and friends with Avril. And I'll give you something new this time. I have a tortoise named George.
Oh,
his name is George Lucas. And you probably heard earlier, I have a dog too, and I've also got a guinea pig and some fish. So, and then 3 kids. So having a good time and looking forward to some meditation.
Well, you're busy. Thank you for being here. And Brian, I know you were introducing yourself, but if
I'm sorry, yeah, that was already the long answer, George, if you wanted. But anyway, yeah, I'm Brian Cross, and know George through Avril, through scuba diving. So Avril met her through our scuba club, and we went out with George and got to know him a little bit. And yeah, I've been got turned on to this kind of mindfulness about 3 years ago, and been reading a lot of books since then. And I just feel like I've turned just a huge emotional corner, spiritual corner, and over the last 3 years, just in my awarenesses and you know, and awarenesses about myself and that sort of thing. And it's just been a great journey. And so I'm naturally kind of aligned with this kind of stuff and attracted to it. So I'm happy to be here as well.
Thank you, Brian. And Serena?
Hi, I'm Serena. I know Avril and George through scuba diving as well, and Brian, that's how we met. And Louise said she had a turtle named George, is that right?
Yeah.
I have a chicken named George.
Oh boy.
I have chickens, but none of them are named George.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. George is a popular name. And yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I know Avril and Lena from the Newfield coaching program. I had a little bit of a break after we finished the Newfield program, so I didn't go for the certification. I wrote a book the last 2 years, and I'm just now getting back into the coaching, and I feel like mindfulness is an essential part of the coaching that I would like to do. And yeah, since we're also talking about animal companions, I have 3 dogs, none of whom are called George, and a human partner, also not named George. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for being here. I'm very privileged to do this with you. And I'll just begin. So I'm going to shrink this down. So just as we arrive, I just wanted to do a short meditation just to de-stress and get things in line to where we're going to be. I wanted to talk a little bit about another anchor. We've been talking about having breath, following your breath as an anchor, but not everyone feels comfortable with using the breath as an anchor. And so there are other things that you can use to kind of center your mind and get rid of some of the, or kind of focus on being present. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the palms of your hands, because I used the tingling in my palms when I first started meditating. And it's very mysterious about the palms. They have a mysterious energy. Most of the wisdom traditions have some significance with the palms. Christians held their palms like this with their elbows down when they said their prayers to signify they were going to do something spiritually significant. And if you'll see, the Buddhists kind of hyperextend their hands like this, and they and bow when they start. Also, Buddhists will use the heart finger, which we use a wedding finger, but they'll put that in the middle of their palms when they're meditating. And there's something significant. Evangelical Christians raise their hands like antennas. In Taoism, there's a whole Tai Chi flow with palms and pushing energy down. And if you've studied Qigong, there's a lot of focus on palms. In Hinduism, the idea of Om is palms. So when they meditate, when Hindus will meditate, they'll have the O here and then their palms extended, bringing in spiritualness. And in Islam, the rak'ah is all about the palms. Every morning when they do the rak'ah, they bring their palms to their heads to bring clearness in, bring it to their heart and to the knees, and then they prostrate themselves on the ground and put their hands on the on the ground, humbling themselves. So there's something, and if you want to use it in your own practice, you can use the palms, and if you don't feel comfortable using breath, I think I used to, even if I'm waiting in lineup, sometimes I can just, feel the tingling. Imagine, where are my hands? Can I see my hands in my mind's eye? So I invite you to try other things if the breath, you're not feeling comfortable with it. So just as we begin and have a short meditation of about 4 or 5 minutes, I invite you to just gently close your eyes or take a gentle stare. And with the sound of the bell, we'll start the short meditation. And the bell simply signifies that we're beginning. So I invite you to take a deep breath, just a clearing breath, and exhale. And as you exhale, nice and slowly let any tension or things that have been on your mind as you came here this evening, or things you've been struggling with, so let it gently flow out. I invite you to take 3 big, deep breaths in. And as you slowly exhale, arrive and let go. You might feel some of the tension you was unaware of until you begin to let it go. And as you return to a natural breath, just a gentle inhale, exhale. You might want to start by softening the brow of your face. And relax the jaw. Each inhale, bring in energy, and exhale, peace. You might want to feel the tension relax in your shoulders, out through your arms. You might feel tingling in your palms if you're focused on your palms. That tension flowing down through your midsection, down through your legs, and let it drain into the earth. Feet might feel firmly planted in the earth ground. You might focus on the palms of your hands. Try to view your hands in your mind's eye. Or you might feel comfortable just following the breath. Inhaling, I breathe in. Exhaling, I breathe out. Letting go. If your mind begins to wander a bit, you can just pick the puppy up and place it back. Stay. Stay. Focus on your breath. Return to your palms or whatever anchor you may choose. Again, feel relaxed. The final minute, you might want to think about what you want to get from this evening, what your intentions are, how you might want to practice or have further interest. And with the sound of the bell, we can end the meditation and feeling comfortable and ready and relaxed. Thank you. So as we return to the room, you might want to take a look around, arrive back here. So tonight I'm going to talk about metta. Metta meditation is loving kindness. It's a Pali word for loving kindness. And I use this meditation a lot every afternoon right before I take a nap. I love my loving kindness meditation. And when we talk about love and kindness, they're so esoteric, you know, what does that mean? Love is used so much, maybe even overused. And we tend to be puzzled with what it means, maybe even uncomfortable. Now, when we look at even people's lives, like we say, oh, they lived a great life because they're so loved. And I'm not sure if that's accurate. To live a great life doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of people love you as much as how we love others. We can go to big, huge funerals and their people may not have been that great. They may not have lived even a life of love. But in the end, all the major traditions say that, teach that love from within is most important. I think that's a question we'll be faced with. How much did you love? Because that's something we're in control of. Can't help whether other people love us or not. They might dislike us a lot, but you know, that's not in our control, and who knows why. So when we talk about this notion of love, it could be a single mama who dedicated her whole life to raising her children and providing for her children and loved them, took care of them. And that might be a great life lived. And so we're in a world where I don't think we emphasize really that deep, caring love. And so as I was thinking about loving kindness, I remember a situation where when I was teaching, maybe I was a young teacher, and I was teaching they were about 18 and 19 years old. And I had a senior class, and I also taught a special needs class, which I don't know what special needs means, but that's what the term was back then. And I had a student who had a particular condition called acromegaly, which is giant disease. And he had abnormal growth and different parts, like his hands were very long and big, and his head grew like twice as high as mine. And he was fairly okay, but he struggled. His eyes rolled in his head. That made people uncomfortable, and he was quite hard to get to know. But he had a very great sense of humor, and his nickname was Hammer. He used to scold himself. If I said, "Did you do the readings?" he would say, "I told you to do those readings," and he talked to himself. And very critical, like we all are. We're all very self-critical. You know, why didn't I do that? And it was just that he was open to it. And so people were getting more used to him. And then it was the spring, and there was a big final dance. I'm not sure, back then it was like a prom type of deal, and it was in the gym. And his mother called and said, you know, he's coming to the dance. And so I was at the front door, and he got out of the door, and he had this plaid jacket with a big bow tie on. And I felt my heart broke, because the kids were going to make fun of him. You know, the others, he just was so uncomfortable. And I was thinking about him and felt so bad. And while I was standing up on top of the track, because you could stand up top and look down into the gym, there was a student who was a beautiful girl. She had her act together. She was like an athlete, and intelligent, had everything going for her. Every boy wanted to meet her. And then as the night went by, Hammer was all alone. Nobody talked to him. And then a slow dance came, and I saw this girl walk across the gym, put her hand out, and raised him from the floor and said, "Come on, dance." And it was like, he was like 6'10", and she was like 5 foot nothing. But she didn't care what people thought. And she went out on the dance floor, and I remember seeing like it was yesterday, she took his hand, put it right behind her back, took his hand and started dancing with him. And he was really apprehensive and uncomfortable, and you could see him being agitated. And then a few minutes later, it was like somebody turned the light on in the gym because his smile was so big. He was just so happy dancing. And I thought, wow, that girl is really special to do that. But even when that song ended, she didn't just say, oh, thank you very much, I did my thing. She really wanted to see him dance. And she took his hand and she started spinning herself and dancing with him. It was magical. And it was so much love and kindness that that girl had to make that boy feel accepted, understood. And she wasn't embarrassed. It was just like, I don't care what other people think. This is important. I think that's loving kindness, to go a little bit outside yourself to make another human being feel comfortable, feel accepted, feel understood, that they're not being judged. And I think the world needs that. In our own lives, we've all been there where even the closest people in our own lives, we can so easily get into an argument where we're just out of practice, where we can't accept, where we can't let things go, we can't understand, or we can't offer up that same type of acceptance. But all it takes is one little drop of a pebble in the pond and the ripples start to go. We don't have to, I think when we were talking with Anya's question last week, not sure if it came out right, but in order for the forest to be green, every tree has to be green. And if we can just have that little drop of pebble in the pond, I'm talking about their girl, and it's at least 25 years later. The ripple has been incredible. Rumi, who was a Muslim mystic, he wrote, "Your acts of kindness are like the wings of a divine love, which linger and continue to uplift others long after your sharing." And it's like just being kind to someone on the streets, doing a little gesture for somebody to help them to be accepted, supported, and give them a sense of dignity. It's so important. And in order to practice that, we practice this meditation of loving kindness. Now I'm going to bring it back to the uncomfortable. When we do our meditation, we're going to practice with somebody that loves us, or we love them, and we're going to start with somebody that's easy. We're going to offer them metta, feelings that vibrate and send out our intentions for them to be healthy and happy. And each day, as you do this as a practice of loving kindness, it becomes easier and easier. And as we progress, we can just challenge ourselves just a little bit more. Here's somebody that I don't like at all, or who hurt me, or did something terrible. And to become that person who can still send them out kindness. It's very difficult, and it doesn't come naturally. But every major wisdom teaching emphasizes forgiveness, acceptance, love. Being human is complicated. And so in this meditation, we take time to really try to concentrate on somebody in our lives that we care about. And then we're going to send them out this magical energy. It's like dropping a pebble in the pond. And I think people receive it. I'm a firm believer. So let's get comfortable, and we'll start our meditation. And then that'll give us some room for some questions and answers afterwards. So get comfortable. You might want to take a posture that's one of dignity, or if it doesn't feel comfortable, just sit the way that relaxes you and that you can be open and mindful. I'll start meditation with a few deep breaths. And like we did before, spend a little bit of time just passing through, following your breath, or using an anchor of your choice. And we'll start with the bell. Start with 3 deep clearing breaths. Inhale, and then slowly exhale. Letting go, letting go. Soften your face and your forehead. Just go to a different level of relaxation. Natural, relaxed breathing. As I breathe in, I breathe in. As I breathe out, I breathe out. Just following the breath. Now I'd like to bring someone to mind that you love, someone that's easy to love, someone who you feel comfortable being kind to. You may have had good intentions for them, someone that you would really like to be happy. You can love them without reservations. Might be a child or a parent or a friend. It may even be someone in the world that you deeply admire. You may not know personally or directly. As you bring this person to mind, try to picture their face. Really visualize him or her. Their eyes, their nose, their mouth. Try to visualize who they are. Now, in your mind's eye, repeat after me. May you be happy. Try to feel sincerely your thoughts to them. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you live a life of peace and joy and ease. And try to really see the person, feel their presence. Try to radiate these intentions to them. Visualizing their person. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May your life be full of peace. May you have joy. Resonating your intentions, sending out them metta. Again, may you be happy. Really feel the intention. Recognize that you really want the person to be happy. Feel what that's like, them to be happy. Now let that feeling expand, soften your mind, soften your heart. Let go of self-concern, feelings of agitation. If you feel that your mind is starting to wander, just bring it back in gently, patiently. Focus on the anchor. Feeling what it's like for the person that you love to be happy. Take a moment to consider their entire lifetime in its entirety. They began as a child. They've grown. Maybe they're into adulthood. Just a wide range of joy and painful experiences that they will have in their life. And there's no way we know how long they will live. And they will die one day. But think of the entire adventure of happiness and sorrow, and that you wish them well. May you be happy. May you find peace. May you find joy. Now we're going to focus on another person. Now this person may be a neutral person. Someone that you may have met at the store. They may deliver your mail. Could be someone that you work with. Send them loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you find joy, recognizing that they are humans too, and they live a life of challenges, heartache, sadness. and joy. Try to picture them, even if you're not that close to them, to practice sending them metta. May you be happy. May you find peace. May you find joy. May you be free from suffering. May you be safe. Now return to the first person that you deeply love. And gently say, may the love I have for you, may you have for me. May the love I have for you, may you have for me. And picture them looking in your eyes with tenderness, and them saying to you, may you be happy. May you find peace. May you find joy. May you be safe. May you find peace. And picture them, feel them saying these thoughts to you. May you be happy. May you have joy. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. May you love me the way I love you. As we wind the meditation down, give yourself feelings of happiness, of love, joy, patience. We are all just humans trying to live a life free of suffering, full of joy, full of love and kindness. With the sound of the bell, we will gently end our meditation. Stretch, move around. So how did that feel? It's totally different. Were there any disturbing? Sorry.
I wouldn't mind just staying in that space.
Yeah. Well, we can. I mean, part of practicing is that's what it is. It's practicing. So that when we're in our daily lives, we can meet the person, or when our kids or our parents. I mean, if you really want to be challenged, visit your parents or visit my parents. Because even though we love them so much, but our families know the buttons to push, right? So the more we practice, the better we are at sitting and saying, you know, I've been here before. You're not gonna sucker me into this argument. Or we might find patience with the people we love, or people that have hurt us, because we all get hurt. Right? It's part of life. Other questions or comments?
Well, I'd never sent someone a blessing. Well, I don't think what I thought was sending someone a blessing before. That was probably the closest I come to sending someone a blessing across the wire, as it were. Right.
Yeah. And how did that feel?
Great. I mean, I don't think there's any higher state than being, just the gratitude and sending that love.
Right.
Right. And how can there be room for anything, quote unquote, labeled as negative or bad thoughts when you're sending that and you're in that space, right? Like what could, it's very hard for them to creep in when you're in that state of gratitude and giving.
Right. Yeah. If we're busy caring for people, it is hard for it to.
Yep. Yep.
I felt a sense of expansion inside myself.
Now describe the expansion.
Yeah, just I think it's different. It was different from relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like my inside world became a little bigger.
Mm.
I was trying to imagine. I was trying to picture my inside of my body, and yeah, the only thing I can say, it felt like an expansion.
Right. Yeah, that's a good word.
And that's all I'm gonna say tonight.
No, I like when
No more
there's a lot of conversation. Don't say that. If we were to do it further in Metta, then we do expand. It's a very good term, because then you go from somebody. So I skipped a couple steps because, as we're learning, so you start with somebody that's easy to love, and then someone you may be having personal, that's close to you, that you may be having a few problems with. And then you go to somebody that's neutral, and then slowly gets to somebody that's really tough. And sometimes there are people in our lives that we feel that are unforgivable. And it stays with us. It's like creating our own, like, the famous saying, like, it's like drinking our own poison and thinking we're gonna hurt them. We go through it over and over in our minds, that we have to let go, right? And it takes a lot of work, and it's not that I can do it, but I'm getting there. It's like the more you practice and the more you can put it into your daily life and realize we're part of a bigger consciousness. And the other thing, and I wanted to tie that kind of in about the major religions in the world, all the major, they're not all classified as religions, but the major wisdom books all have the same. They're all consistent. You want to be happy in life, you have to forgive and love. And Christianity, that's just all about love and letting go. And, love your neighbor and love your enemy. It's very easy to say those things. When you try to do it, it brings you pain. And so through meditation, I find that it has relieved a lot of that stress, even when you have a bit of sadness when people aren't cooperating the right way. It's like, well, you can let it go. Other comments? How did you like a metta compared to, say, mindfulness of breath or mindfulness of emotion? This was a little more spiritual. Did anybody feel uncomfortable doing it?
I liked it more than the breath work meditations that we've done, because it gave you something to, I have a hard time, quieting my mind sometimes. So it kind of like gave me something to focus on or think about.
Okay. Good. Yeah. So could
I
you?
like the, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like the meditation, the breath meditation better.
Yeah.
If we want to put it in terms of
Right.
better or worse or whatever.
Yeah.
I find the love and kindness and compassion meditation harder for some reason. I don't know exactly why.
Yeah. Well, that's something you can ask. The meditation practices bring up things like why, but it's best to do the ones that you feel most comfortable with. And then you kind of go into these other practices, and there are many. Where I'm just putting 4, and then you can pick and choose how to do it in your own life. For sure, it helped me in business because my relationship with people that were not pleasant to work with, I could change and see they may be just struggling. They may be insecure, or they may be trying to power trip. And so when, even before I could go into a meeting, I could say, oh, this person has maybe hard to get along with, so I'm going to be kind to them. I'm not going to shove back. And I found it helped because everybody wants to be cared for and respected, and it just helped. I find it helps. Well, we're a bit short on time, but if there's no other questions or comments, yeah, Louise.
God, I have so many things that I want to comment on, but there's one thing that just came up was how this would be a nice addition to the 4 agreements. Have loving kindness. It's almost like the 4 agreements are so helpful when you get caught up in your own little world. But in order to pull you out of your own little world, the 4 agreements would kind of put you at ground zero. But I think this kind of puts you kind of at the next level. Right. And that's why I liked it. But I don't know if anybody else, like that brought tears to my eyes doing that. I don't know if anybody else had that emotional response to it, but that was, and it was with a person that I care about. It was an easy one. Right. So, it was interesting to me how it drew out that emotion. But I think it would be very therapeutic to do that regularly.
Right. Yeah. Especially when people you love. Tina?
Yeah, I want to add to what Louise said, because the emotion for me really came for the neutral person. And I experienced almost, you mentioned the curtain last week, how that curtain moves. And this felt powerful, like the wind blowing gently. So it's like it came back to me when I was sending it to that neutral person. So also to branch off of Anya, I felt like I expanded a little, that it just was this cyclical thing that was happening almost like a breeze. And that's where I got that goosebumpy, tearful, emotional response. Yes, I felt great when I was doing it for the easy one, but that neutral one was like next level. I don't know what other words to put to it other than that.
Yeah.
And this for me was easy. I thought it was going to be harder, but as you worked us through that first one, that neutral one actually was easier for me than the easy one, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Other people's comments? I think it's challenging to show loving kindness to people we don't know, because there's so much judgments. We can be feeling uncomfortable sometimes. I catch myself going, why am I, that's the person that needs it, and I'm feeling uncomfortable.
So I also feel like liberated. Like for me, it was more powerful with the neutral one. I chose a neighbor that my assessment that he's not very nice to us.
Right.
So I chose him, and when I was sending him like the love and for him to be happy, it made me feel very connected, not only with him, but with the rest of the world. It was very powerful.
Right.
Very nice.
Yeah. And awareness, which is what mindfulness does, allows you to be aware of the things that we do, like in the former agreements Louise was talking about. You may not have read the book, but like to be, have a sacredness to your word. Like we can easily create, oh, that person did this to me, and you change the words around to be even more poisonous. And if you've read that book, the voice in our head tells us the words that to get us mad at people or disappointed at people, or say, create these thoughts. Also, when the neutral people, I remember in Stephen Covey's book, it was talking about, perspective, because they're on this subway, this bus, and their two kids were out of control and they're banging things and jumping on the seats, and the father was just ignoring them. People were huffing and puffing, and the father just ignored them being out of control. And she was thinking, like, get control of your kids. And so then finally somebody said, your kids are really bothering me, you could do something. And then he said, the person says, oh, I'm so sorry, their mother, we just coming back from the hospital, and their mother is, I think in the story, their mother just passed away, and they've been at her bedside. And suddenly everybody in the bus starts to have a total this change in their beliefs. Now that everybody's loving and kind and heartbroken for these children. And so we don't know really what's going on in other people's lives. They may beep the horn and be nasty on the road, but we don't really know where they're coming from or where they're going to and what they're doing in life. And so, and I don't always do it because I get aggravated, but, sometimes you do that little breath, like, and then you just return back to, and you can send metta wherever you're going so fast. I hope you get there safe. Hope everything will be fine. And you just say these little comments to them, and it does boom around back to you, right? What you send out, it comes back. And that's why in metta we change the focus from the person, turning around and facing you. And may you love me the way I love you. It has a total emotional feeling of, yeah, I'm going to love people the way I would love to be loved. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being part of my evaluation. And thank you for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful week and take something with it to make your life a little better. So,
thank you.
Bye,
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
May you be
Thanks,
happy.
everyone. Thank you, George.
Thank
Good
you
to see
all.
you, April.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night.